I want to promote your blog, because there's a lot of stuff on that blog that's very worth, it's worth reading and it's worth doing, and you can find that on our website. So I would encourage you to do that and give it a read.
I think it's under the patient education tab, and look for the blog and you'll find a whole bunch of them.
Good. All right. Well, with COVID,
yes.
I'm assuming you've seen some emotional change. Is that assumption right?
That is a very fair assumption. It has been the context of almost every person I've seen in the last year and a half or so.
What are some of the things that they're complaining about?
Well, they're complaining about, some of it they're complaining about the normal things, but the intensity of the anxiety mostly associated seems to be higher right now. So anxiety is probably, and some depression too, but anxiety has probably been the most pronounced emotional mental health thing that I've seen as a draw a straight line from COVID-19.
Do you see any other things like loneliness or eating or substance abuse? Oh
yeah, well, and all of those are sort of symptomatic of or resultant from the anxiety and or the depression. The loneliness, people who isolate themselves too much, they eat too much, they drink too much, they don't exercise enough. They become emotionally impaired and cognitively impaired in some ways, and the things that you come up with to do when you're that impaired with the anxiety are often exacerbators rather than alleviators. Well,
you use the term anxiety or stress.
Yeah.
So how do you manage it? What do you tell people to do?
Well, first thing I tell them to do is don't always rely on themselves right now. They can't always trust their instincts on that. I mean, the simple things like diet and exercise and avoiding abusing alcohol and certainly abusing drugs, illegal drugs especially, those things are very important. But also really to talk to your doctor. You can get medicine for help with it. Talk to somebody, because one of the problems is that people sort of stuff things in, especially anxious people are almost embarrassed by it. They don't want to talk about it. And what I've discovered is, and what I've learned is, that you're only as sick as your secrets. The stuff that you stuff inside are the stuff that really becomes toxic and dangerous for you. So you really need to let some of those things out sort of where they can breathe.
You use the term toxic, and I'm going to use a little different term. I'm going to use the term anger.
Okay.
Because I find myself being angry at people who won't do what I want them to, won't take care of themselves, and we find families who somebody wants to get a vaccine, somebody doesn't, somebody wants to wear a mask, how do you handle the anger that occurs, especially in families who love each other?
I honestly, Jeff, I see that a lot. People whose parents doggedly refuse to get the vaccine, who doggedly refuse to believe this is a real thing. And the absolute anger, you're right, it's the best word. They're just so angry that somebody will not take good advice and will put themselves at risk, put the rest of their family at risk, and then run the risk of losing somebody that's precious to you.
So how do you manage the anger? What do you do with it?
Well, there's another version of the serenity prayer that I like, and this version says, God grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the ones that I can, and the wisdom to know that it's me. The only one I can do anything about is me. I can model good behavior, I can do what I believe is right, but at the end of the day, I can't control what other people do and don't do.
Okay. Does the social media make it worse?
Social media has been terrible. I mean, if somebody in the first session or two talks anything about Instagram or tweeting or Facebook, problems are usually more intensified because of all that data that's out there. Such a high percentage of it which is not accurate data, but it's been spoken with such authority that people want to believe it.
Well, all that's great information. So, if you're suffering with stress or anxiety, don't hesitate to talk to somebody. Maybe you need a medication, talk to your doctor about that, but don't keep it bottled up. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
We'll be right back.